All right, let's talk about the benefits available for seniors in North Carolina. We are elder law attorneys after all, so let's talk about it. I'm Brenton Begley, by the way, attorney and partner with McIntyre Elder Law. And there are a few things that you should know that if you're a senior in the state of North Carolina that may be available for you. One is a homestead exemption. Now, the homestead exemption in North Carolina depends upon age and poverty level, okay? Maybe that's not the greatest way to say it, but income level. You have to be under a certain income level to qualify for the homestead exemption in North Carolina. Homestead exemption in North Carolina is probably not like other homestead exemptions that you've heard about. It's mostly to qualify for a lower property tax on the property that you own, okay? So if you are over a certain age, which I believe is 65, and under a certain income level, which I do not recall because it changes, you can possibly qualify for a homestead exemption to lower your taxes on your property. All right, so that's a small one. That's one that not everybody can qualify for. Here's the other two big ones. So there's VA benefits and there's Medicaid benefits. So VA benefits only apply if you are a veteran or the spouse of a deceased veteran, okay? So for a veteran, you have to have served at least 90 days active duty during a wartime. Doesn't have to be in a war zone, okay? And if that's the case, if 90 days active duty during a wartime and you were honorably discharged, not other than honorably, not dishonorably, but honorably discharged, then you can possibly qualify for a benefit to help pay for care, okay? If your medical expenses exceed your income, you can get up to $3,500 a month to cover those medical expenses, whether that's in-home care, whether that is facility care. For a spouse of a deceased veteran, you have to have been married during the time that the veteran passed away. So if you're a surviving spouse of a deceased veteran and you were married at the time that the veteran passed away, you can possibly qualify for a similar benefit. However, the veteran would have had to have qualified for that benefit at the time that they passed away. So, you know, the veteran still would have had to have been 90 days active duty during a wartime, not necessarily in a war zone, but honorably discharged. Also, the amount of benefit depends upon whether or not the veteran had a service-related disability. That means during that active duty time, did they have some type of profile where they got hurt and then afterwards they suffered from that such that they were given a service-rated disability rating. And if that is the case, then you may be able to get additional benefits, but the benefits that a surviving spouse of an otherwise qualified deceased veteran, okay, the amount you can get is about half the amount that the veteran would otherwise have been able to qualify for. All right, so that's VA benefits. There's a lot to unpack there, but if you're a veteran yourself and you have, you know, a lot of medical expenses or plan to have a lot of medical expenses, or you're the surviving spouse of a deceased veteran and you're in that same situation, we can help with that. The other one is Medicaid. Now, Medicaid, a lot of times when I talk about Medicaid, people say, look, I'll never qualify for Medicaid. I have too much money. I make too much money. And what I'm talking about is long-term care Medicaid. Long-term care Medicaid covers skilled nursing level care, okay? Now, there's Medicaid for other things in the state of North Carolina, but the one I really want to bring to your attention is long-term care Medicaid, because long-term care costs a lot of money. You know, it's no mystery. And the government, they understand that. So the threshold for qualifying for long-term care Medicaid is not as high as it would be for other types of Medicaid. So there's lots of ways to protect assets, okay, to figure out what to do with assets to exempt them, to help somebody get qualified for a benefit to pay for very costly skilled nursing care, which can go from $10,000, $15,000 a month. And that is possible for most people, even middle-class individuals, even upper middle-class individuals, if you have the right type of planning in place. So those are three big benefits that you may qualify for in the state of North Carolina: homestead exemption, VA benefits, and long-term care Medicaid. If you have questions about any of those and need any help, happy to talk to you about that. So give us a call, 704-259-7040, or visit our website, mcelderlaw.com. elderlaw.com.